3.5 gallons, $22.42 for Supreme. That is the most I've ever paid for a fill, and that wasn't even a fill. You can see that's, I mean, that's as close to empty as I've ever gotten on this bike, and that is how much I paid. Yeah, gas is freaking expensive. Oh, what is up, T.O.Gs? So yeah, filled up with gas, we're ready to go. Just out for pretty much a leisurely ride today. And out filming some content for the channel. Welcome everybody. If you're new to the channel, my name is Eric. I'm that one guy. If at any time you like what you're seeing in this video, and if you're not already, make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. We post new content every week, motorcycle related, and almost always out here on the motorcycle. And I ride, if you can't tell from this view, I'll give you a view of me riding. I ride a 2015 KTM 1290 Super Duke R, and just loving this bike. Had it for let's see, I think 4.5, almost 5 years, I think. And it is the bike that I've owned for the longest period of time, and for good reason. Is my favorite bike that I've ever owned, and going to be difficult if I ever choose to replace this bike or switch to something else, because I love this bike. I love the way it rides. I love the way it fits me. This bike is a little tall for me. I have the suspension set not low, just normal, and I just get by. You know, once you're out on this bike riding, because of the really comfortable riding position that you're able to ride in on the Super Duke, you know, it's only here when we stop that I ever notice that there's an issue on how tall this bike is. And even so, you know, I get one foot down on one side, put the other foot up, we're good to go. And anyway, that is not what we're here to talk about today. Today, though, speaking of maybe replacing this bike in the future, I wanted to talk about brand loyalty. And this is something that I mentioned in my previous video, saying that I would be talking about. And so, before we even get started, are you guys brand loyal? I'm not just talking about motorcycle brands. I'm talking about motorcycle gear brands, and pretty much just in general. Are you loyal to the brands that you buy? And if so, leave it in the comments if maybe you think if I've maybe enlightened you at all after you've watched this video. You know, are you still brand loyal? I don't suspect, because brand loyalty to me is kind of one of those things where if you are adamantly loyal to a brand, I don't think that anyone's going to change your mind. I think that's one of those things where, a little bit like politics and religion, where it's just going to be difficult to change your mind if you're loyal to a brand to a T. That's probably not the right way to say it, but right now would be a good time to bring up the fact that I have reduced my garage to one motorcycle. We sold the 2002 Sportster 1200, the Roadster. It was getting to the point where I was spending a lot of what I earn here on YouTube, which just isn't that much, you know, putting into that bike and trying to get it fixed, trying to get it up and running. And to me, it's one of those things where you get to the point where if you're fixing a bike more than you're riding it, at least for me, because I don't ride as much as I would like to, you get to the point where it's not worth it. It's not worth paying registration every year, and that registration just roll around, and I ended up paying that. It got to the point where it wasn't worth paying the maintenance costs and just not being able to ride it. Like, if the bike required some part or something to be fixed and I was able to just get out and ride it after that, that would be one thing. But it was just thing after thing. And really, along the vein of the topic of the day, which is brand loyalty, I have been a loyal Harley customer loyal Harley rider, whatever you want to call it, for almost as long as I've been riding. And I've been riding for about 13 years. I've almost always owned a Harley, and to me, this is less of a decision of going away from Harley and more of a decision of not buying an older bike, definitely not buying a carbureted bike, and going more towards something that's going to fit my riding habits and my personality too. But today, I don't want to talk too much about why, other than the fact that it was just time to get rid of the bike because it was a drain on my budget and resources and time. Less about that and more about how I'm not sure I'll go back to buying another Harley. To me, it's a premium price for not necessarily getting the value for your money. I'll leave it in the comments. If you're a Harley rider and you strictly ride Harley Davidsons, tell me why. Tell me why it is. I get it because I rode Harleys for so long. I didn't really have that many issues with any of my other Harleys as far as maintenance goes, or as far as having mechanical issues until I bought an older one. And so I think I understand why we own Harleys and why we're loyal to the brand. But let me talk to you about not necessarily Harley brand loyalty, just brand loyalty in general. Now, there are good reasons to be loyal to a brand. There are arguments for that, for being loyal to a brand, and there's arguments against. I want to talk about first why you should be loyal to a brand. Now, first of all, it's style, it's personality. A brand might fit your personality, and I'm not just talking about the way you dress or the way you ride. I'm talking about just kind of in general your personality. Like if you're a sporty person, if you're kind of like an aggressive rider, if it fits your riding personality, these are the kinds of motorcycles that you're going to gravitate towards, and the kind of brands that match that riding personality and maybe your personality in general as well. And that might make you loyal to that brand. That is definitely a good argument because, you know, your personality and your style, it's one of those things that you've developed over time. If you're an older rider, yeah, definitely you're definitely more ingrained. You're definitely more in your lane as far as your personality. If you're a younger rider, you're still figuring out how you ride. You're still figuring out what bike definitely, or what style of riding fits you, whether it be adventure riding, touring, just casual riding, track riding, all those things. These things are going to be shape you and shape your desire to gravitate towards a certain brand or a certain style of motorcycle. And to me, it has less to do with the brand and more towards the style of riding that you do. God, I have not been on this road in a while, and it is just terrible. And in that same vein of fit, right? It's not just about your personality fit, but your size, right? If you're somebody who's shorter and have a harder time riding a sportier motorcycle that sits up taller, feel like you're riding more on top of the bike and less like you're riding in the bike, you're probably going to gravitate more towards a cruiser just because that's going to fit you better. And in that case, there are particular brands that are going to give you more options, and in that way you might be loyal to a brand because of the way it fits your body type, your size. Maybe you have shorter arms, and so you need a bike that's going to bring those handlebars back to you. All of these things are going to be something to consider when you're talking about devoting your time and your money, a lot of your money, to a brand. And again, this just doesn't go for motorcycles. When we talk about fit, Dainese is a motorcycle apparel company and accessory company. They sell gloves, they sell jackets, they sell boots and shoes. I've heard from a lot of reviews and from a lot of people that like a Dainese gear, that it's definitely more aimed towards people who have a slimmer fit. Now for me, whose weight fluctuates, I really loved the design on a lot of Dainese products, but I ended up having to go with something else because it just didn't fit me properly, right? So it's not just about the style of motorcycle you ride, but the brand of motorcycle gear that you wear. The same thing goes for the Dainese shoes. They have a narrower fit, and so if you have a wide foot, probably you're going to gravitate towards something else, towards another brand. So in that way, brand loyalty is going to be less of, and in my opinion, be less of the brand specific and more of the style. Again, with something like Dainese, you are going to be looking at something where, like, if you're a heavier person or somebody who's just thick, right? If they're that's built a little bit more broadly, Dainese probably isn't going to be the way you're going to go. You're going to look at Alpine Stars. Maybe you're going to look at Icon. I know a lot of the Icon gear that I've had is definitely broader, fits me much looser. Same with the shoes. The shoes have been wider. So yeah, these are things that you're going to want to look at when you're talking about committing to a brand or committing your loyalty to a brand. Now the argument against, for me, and this is where I say, yeah, loyalty to a brand should never be supersede anything, especially fit, safety, and comfortability, right? You shouldn't be like, oh, I love Harley Davidson brand clothing because it fits me well. But if you're somebody who is definitely more interested in safety, that fit and that style should not supersede your safety. And this is just my personal opinion. You might disagree with me. You might be like, I don't care about safety. I ride with sleeveless a sleeveless shirt or a vest, and what do they call what do they call those helmets? Brain buckets. I don't even know if that's the right term. Leave it in the comments if I'm way off on the little half helmets that a lot of Harley riders will wear. But yeah, obviously, if safety is not on the forefront of your checklist when you're deciding whether a brand is right for you, then that, so be it. But in my opinion, that should never. Your safety, the fit, and the comfortability. I mean, you might be a thinner guy, and to me, a lot of the Harley gear is geared more towards like a burlier, bigger rider. And again, that just didn't fit me. Doesn't fit me well. And the last part that I'll say here on why I say brand loyalty shouldn't supersede things or be ahead of something is your personality. And this is all my opinion, and again, leave your opinions down there in the comments. I think that your personality should be enhanced. You should be able to show your personality through the gear that you wear, through the bike that you ride. That you should never mold your personality to the style of bike that you ride or the style of gear that you wear. Those things, I think, should only help you express who you are inside. And for me, it took a while. It took a while to get there. When I first started riding, Harley Davidson was such an icon, was such a legendary brand, right? That I kind of put all that aside, and I kind of made myself into a Harley guy, if that makes any sense at all. And in the end, I found that I was done. And this definitely goes along the same lines, and I think maybe quite a few of you will be able to relate to this. I'm probably just gonna make a U-turn here. This is all this construction. I had no idea what was going on. I think maybe a lot of you can understand, like, I used to be a Nike guy. All of my clothes, my shoes especially, everything was Nike. And it was just something that I did, and something that fit who I was as a sporty guy through high school and as a young adult. But as I got older, it was more about comfort, right? You start getting older, my knees start hurting. I need to start finding shoes that fit me and that fit my that give me a little arch support because I have flat feet, right? All of these things start coming into consideration, and you have to think more about fit, comfort, your health, right? If I want my knees to be healthy for a longer term, I needed to find shoes that fit me and took care of my knees. And all of these things, right, when you start getting older, you start thinking about less about how cool your gear looks and more about how safe that you want to be when you're out here riding. And I say this, and I've said this for years, that I'm more interested in riding long term. I want to be riding my motorcycle until I'm an old man, right? This is something that I love to do, and it's something that makes me happy. And I'm more concerned with being able to do this for as long as I can. And to do that, I need to practice ATGAT. If you don't know what that is, that's up here on the screen, all the gear all the time. And I just need to ride defensively. I need to follow all the things that you should be doing when you're out here riding. And that, thank you for coming to my TED Talk on brand loyalty. Guys, again, I posed this at the beginning of the video. Are you loyal to a brand? Maybe to a fault, like I was with Nike for the longest time. You know, there's nothing wrong with brand loyalty. I don't think that there's anything wrong with brand loyalty. Like I said, until it starts infringing upon maybe some of like your belief system, or just maybe who you are as a person. Maybe you start disagreeing with some of the ways and the policies that your company that you were loyal to are running. Maybe they're counter to who the person that you are, and so that goes into a much heavier and much broader topic that I don't want to go into on this video. But make sure you leave your comments on brand loyalty. This might be one of those things where people don't care, or this might be one of those things where we fire up a discussion. So make sure you do so. But guys, that's all I got for you today. If you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you are out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name is Eric. I'm that one guy, and I am out.